What would you do if the voice of God himself demanded the unthinkable? If the creator of the universe asked you to surrender the one thing you loved most, your child, your legacy, or your very heart? This isn't just a story, it's a gut-wrenching test of faith, a moment that echoes through history, shaking the foundations of belief itself. Today, we dive into the story of Abraham and Isaac, as told in Genesis 22, a tale of obedience, sacrifice, and a love so fierce it defies comprehension. Buckle up, because this is no ordinary Bible story. This is a journey into the soul of a man who stood at the edge of eternity and chose to trust. Thousands of years ago, in the ancient land of Canaan, a man named Abraham walked under the weight of a divine promise. Genesis 12:2-3 records God's covenant. "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Abraham wasn't just a nomad. He was the father of a promise that would birth nations, a legacy that would shape the world. But this promise came at a cost. For decades, Abraham and his wife Sarah waited childless, their hope flickering like a flame in the desert wind. Then a miracle, Isaac, their son, born in their old age. As Genesis 21:2 says, Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. Isaac was more than a child. He was living proof that God keeps his word. So imagine the sheer terror when God speaks again, with a command that shatters everything, a burnt offering. Let that sink in. God wasn't asking for a sheep or a goat. He was commanding Abraham to take his son, the boy he'd waited a lifetime for, the child of the promise, and end his life on an altar. Why? What kind of God demands this? What kind of father could obey? Genesis 22 isn't just a story to skim over. It's a raw, unflinching look at faith stretched to its breaking point, and we're going to unpack it step by step to understand what it means for Abraham, for Isaac, and for us. To understand this story, we need to know Abraham. He's no stranger to God's voice. Decades earlier, Genesis 12:1 tells us, the Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." Abraham obeyed, leaving everything familiar behind, his home, his security, and his past. He trusted God through famine, through battles, and through the long, barren years of waiting for a child. But this command, this is different. This is personal. Isaac isn't just his son. He's the fulfillment of God's promise, the heir through whom your offspring will be reckoned. Genesis 21:12. Without Isaac, the covenant crumbles, yet God's command is unmistakable: sacrifice him. Picture this moment. Abraham's alone, the weight of God's words crushing his soul. Does he argue? Does he plead, as he did for Sodom in Genesis 18:23-25, asking, "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked?" The Bible doesn't say, but he's human just like us. Imagine the questions tearing at him. Why, God? Why give me Isaac only to take him away? Is this a test, a punishment? Yet as dawn breaks, Abraham makes a choice. He doesn't run. He doesn't hide. Genesis 22:3 says, "Early the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey." Why? Because faith, real faith, doesn't just trust when it's easy. It trusts when it rips your heart apart. The journey to Moriah takes 3 days, 3 agonizing days of walking, thinking, and silence. Genesis 22:4 notes, "On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Isaac, maybe 7 or 8, is full of life, chatting about the landscape, maybe teasing the servants about their slow pace. Abraham, though, carries a secret heavier than the wood on the donkey's back. Every step is a battle, love for his son warring against love for his God. Yet he keeps going. This isn't blind fanaticism. It's a deliberate choice to trust that God somehow will make sense of this. Let's pause here. Why doesn't Abraham tell Isaac? Why not explain? Maybe he can't bear to see fear in his son's eyes. Maybe he's clinging to hope that God will intervene, as he did when sparing Lot from Sodom's destruction. Genesis 19:29. Or maybe, just maybe, he's afraid that speaking the truth aloud will shatter his resolve. Whatever the reason, Abraham's silence speaks volumes. It's the silence of a man wrestling with the impossible, yet refusing to turn back. Did you catch that? Abraham says, "We will come back. We, not I." Hebrews 11:17-19 reveals the depth of his faith. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead. That's not just faith. That's audacious, radical trust. He's not sure how this ends, but he's betting everything on God's character. So with Isaac carrying the wood and Abraham holding the fire and knife, they climb the mountain, father and son, side by side, one knowing the truth, the other blissfully unaware. Now, let's shift to Isaac. He's not a toddler, as some picture him. He's old enough to carry a load of wood, old enough to understand the rituals of sacrifice. As they climb, he notices something's off. There's no lamb, no animal for the offering. So he asks the question that pierces Abraham's heart. The fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Genesis 22:7. God will provide. Those words aren't just an answer. They're a prayer, a lifeline. Abraham's not lying to Isaac, but he's not telling the whole truth either. He's clinging to hope, trusting that the God who gave him Isaac won't abandon them now. But the clock is ticking, the altar is near, and the moment of truth is coming. This is it, the moment everything hinges on. Abraham finishes the altar, he arranges the wood, and then he turns to Isaac. The Bible is sparse on this moment, but imagine it. Does Abraham's voice break as he explains? Do his hands shake as he binds his son's wrists? And Isaac, does he resist, cry out? Genesis 22:9 says, Abraham bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. A boy strong enough to carry wood could fight back, could run, but he doesn't. Here's where the story deepens. Isaac isn't a victim. He's a willing participant. His submission mirrors his father's faith, a double act of surrender. Father and son, united in trust. Isaac in Abraham, Abraham in God. This moment is a shadow of something greater, as John 3:16 whispers, For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son. Isaac's willingness foreshadows the Lamb who would come. And then God speaks, Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Genesis 22:12. The knife falls. Tears stream down Abraham's face as he unties Isaac, pulling him into a desperate embrace, sobbing with relief and awe. In that moment, Abraham looks up and sees a ram caught in a thicket. Genesis 22:13 says, Abraham went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. This isn't just a story about a father and son, it's a glimpse into the heart of God. Abraham named that place the Lord. Will provide, Genesis 22:14, a testament to God's faithfulness. Centuries later, another father would offer his only son, not on Moriah but on a cross. Unlike Isaac, Jesus would not be spared. The ram in the thicket was a shadow. Jesus was the true lamb, the sacrifice for all, as John 1:29 declares, Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. So what does this mean for us? Abraham's story isn't just history, it's a challenge. Romans 12:1 urges us, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. What are we willing to lay down? Our dreams, our fears, our control? Abraham didn't obey because he was perfect. He obeyed because he knew God was faithful. As Hebrews 11:6 reminds us, without faith, it is impossible to please God. That same God calls us to trust him even when the path is shrouded in mystery. The story of Abraham and Isaac isn't about a cruel test or a distant God. It's about a love so deep it demands everything, and a God who provides when we step out in faith. So, what's your Moriah? What's your sacrifice? And will you trust the one who holds it all? Subscribe for more stories that inspire faith and courage. Hit the bell to never miss a video.